Banks are closing branches nationwide. Wells Fargo is closing branches.
Here, Wells Fargo closed 221 branches. That's more than any other bank.
Citi Bank is closing branches.
Citigroup is in trouble.
And it's clear we have challenges that we need to urgently address right now.
Fifth Third is closing branches. PNC is closing branches. Truist Bank is closing branches. And so many others. In this video, we're going to talk about why banks are closing so many branches, how this is going to affect you, and what we need to do going forward to prepare. This photo was just taken yesterday, and as you can see, the line is literally out the door because so many other branches have closed in the area. Something is going on behind the scenes, and the news is not telling us something that we should know. So why are so many banks closing branches right now? Now, many of the banks are saying that many people have transitioned to online banking and they're not coming in to the branches as much, so they don't have that much traffic, so it's not much of a need to actually have the storefront style that they've had for years. Many banks that were inside of grocery stores are now starting to remove themselves from the grocery stores because of the same thing that they're saying is not enough traffic. But behind the scenes, many of these banks are not as profitable as they were last year and a few years before that. Now, over the past couple of years, we've seen some major banks close, and even President Biden had something to say about it.
Good evening, everyone. President Biden was up early in front of the cameras before the markets opened this morning in a move to calm jitters following a pair of bank collapses. Mr. Biden declaring the banking system is safe and telling customers your deposits will be there when you need them.
Americans can have confidence that the banking system is safe. Your deposits will be there when you need them.
His administration announcing Sunday night that customers at Silicon Valley Bank, which collapsed on Friday, and Signature Bank in New York, which was shut down on Sunday, would be made whole by the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, or FDIC.
No losses will be, and this is an important point, no losses will be borne by the taxpayers. Let me repeat that. No losses will be borne by the taxpayers.
Even the Wall Street Journal said banks are ditching their branches. Maybe you should too. Now, low key, this has actually been happening for quite some time. Check this out. The Wall Street Journal says that over the past 12 months, Wells Fargo has closed over 258 branches. JP Morgan Chase has closed over 165 branches, and Bank of America nearly over 100 branches. In all, the number of bank branches in the U.S. has shrunk by more than 1/5 to just 78,000 today from nearly 100,000 in 2009. So when do you know if it's the right time to switch to an online bank? Do you wait for all the branches to close in your area, or do you start right now? This is what Wall Street Journal says. They said that gone are the days when opening a new account meant bringing your driver's license and paper documents to a bank and waiting in line for a teller. Now you can open an account online in less than half an hour with just your social security number, date of birth, address, and an account number or debit card to make the initial deposit. You can also deposit a check, transfer money, buy a certificate of deposit, and more without having to leave your couch. Aside from the obvious benefit of digital banking saving you time to travel and energy, online banks have a lower overhead that frequently translates into better terms of financial products. For checking accounts, that means skipping monthly fees that eat away at your paycheck. And for savings accounts, it means higher interest rates. While the national average rate on savings accounts is just 0.46%, many online banks are offering rates between 4% and 5%. Now, credit unions are a great alternative, but in my personal opinion, it's going to be a matter of time before we start to see the same exact thing that's happening with branches. Think about it. It's the same exact layout. Many of them still have commercial rental properties that they either own or that they pay rent on. Most of them have a lease on these properties. So if people aren't walking inside the branch every single day, having that face-to-face conversation, and many of them are being told to call customer service, it's just a matter of time before they end up closing other branches as well. But that's the problem, is that you're going to lose customer service. Right now, when we call a lot of these banks, we end up talking to someone where English is not their first language. I'm not necessarily knocking that, but sometimes they don't understand what you're talking about, and it makes things more frustrating as opposed to being able to walk inside the branch. But even today, they're making things more difficult because now you walk inside of a branch, they say, hey, just go call customer service. Not long ago, we used to be able to open up the account inside the bank, and we were able to get our debit card on the spot, deal with any customer service issues, meet with someone face to face. They give us advice. We build a relationship with that person. Many of those things are going to change if we're not able to walk inside the branch. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Now, I've personally been one to keep up with the times, so of course it's not going to change too much for me, but there's a lot of people where they're used to doing it this way. I know that people are being forced to use the internet a different type of way, downloading the apps and things of that sort, but some people are still not savvy with that. Either way, regardless of what we think, this is going to happen with or without us.
How long will your neighborhood bank branch be there? We're using them less often, so now banks are beginning to rethink the whole idea of branches. The temporary closure of this Wells Fargo Bank in Oakland caught customers by surprise.
I'm super annoyed and super irritated. This is a huge inconvenience, and I wish something could be done about it.
Last year, Wells Fargo closed 221 branches. That's more than any other bank. This branch did reopen, but is no longer open on Saturdays. Bank of America shut down this branch in Brisbane, leaving the small city south of San Francisco without any bank. Chase turned off the lights at this branch in South San Francisco early in the pandemic. It reopened, offering a different set of services. Beth Mills of the Western Bankers Association says that's a trend seen at other banks, too.
It's a little bit different where it's not where people are going to deposit checks and take money out, but rather go for financial services.
A report from Global Market Intelligence found banks set a record by closing nearly 4,000 branches last year and opened just 1,000 new ones. That's a net loss of 2,927 branches. James Wilcox is with the Haas Graduate School of Business at UC Berkeley.
Banks have been closing branches on balance for at least a dozen years.
The pandemic certainly accelerated the pace of closures, but increased use of mobile apps coupled with competition from online banks such as Ally and payment systems like PayPal certainly played a role.
So it's just a matter of time, and we need to prepare ourselves for this and start understanding that everything's going to be moving to online banking. So use this time to start figuring out what your bank is going to do and how they're still going to be around and how they still can service you if they don't have a local branch next to you. Or you may be considering going from a bank to a credit union or online banking. No matter your choice, this is the time to start doing that research because this is more than likely going to be the year that the banks are not going to be reopening new branches as quick as they're closing.
Welcome back. New this morning, Pittsburgh's biggest bank will close 25 branches early next year.
According to the Pittsburgh Business Times, PNC announced the closures in 7 states. Now, none of those cuts are in the Pittsburgh metro area. Back in October, the bank announced 20 branch consolidations. 3 of those consolidations are in the Pittsburgh area, 45 during the first 6 weeks of the new year.
If you like this video, you're most definitely going to love the next one, and I'll see you there.